Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I have been absent for quite a while now, but it just so seems that every time I get into a really nice filming schedule, something pops up, health issue, I get ill or whatever, and yeah, that was the case this time. And pretty much that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about mental health issues as well as health issues because it's Mental Health Awareness Week this week. And so I thought that I would share my story about my mental health issues and my health in general as well, because they all link together. Before I start though, I want to say thank you to Sally Jack's TV mum, whom I have messaged, and she said that I can tag her in this video. So I just wanted to say thank you to her for providing me with, well, and a lot of other people as well, with a lot of educational content about the health issue that we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to provide some links to her videos in the description box down below so you can check her out. I'm going to talk about her more at the end of the video, but yeah, just wanted to give her credit for all the help and all the knowledge that she has given a lot of people, including me. So let's move on to the story. So before I move on to the actual story, if you haven't seen my Helicobacter pylori story, it's up here. You can go see that, you can go watch it, because it's all related to what I'm going to be talking about today in today's video. So I think it would be really useful to quite a lot of you actually to learn more about that story, because it might actually be really useful to those of you who have struggled with Helicobacter pylori or other gut issues. So this can be really relevant to you. So I'm just looking at my plan here. I don't want to forget anything. So this all started, this whole story, this whole health issue and mental health issues started when I was at uni. So I would say minimum 2 years ago. When I was at uni, well, in the first couple of years of uni, I didn't really take care of myself that well. I was kind of into that, you know, successful lifestyle, waking up at 5 a.m, only having like 5 hours of sleep, doing all my, you know, my best to just study all the time and socialize, and my diet was okay. I've always tried to eat good food, but I've always, well, not always, I'm not now, but I used to be quite addicted to sugar and caffeine. I would drink a lot of coffee, and so that gives you kind of context for what's to come, because I think that a lot of what I had experienced back in the day when I was younger has affected and has kind of, in a sense, caused the health issues that I've been struggling with now. So yes, 5 coffees a day is not good for your gut. The stress levels that I was having, not good for the gut either. So that was that. And then about, I would say about almost 2 years ago, a year and a bit, so that was January 2020, this was before COVID, and so I got really ill. I would get ill, so probably before that I would also get ill very often. Let me just point that out. I was always susceptible to sore throat, the flu, colds, everything. I would always catch things. I was probably ill minimum 4 times in a year, which is crazy. So I just thought to myself, well, my immune system is probably quite, I don't know, bad, not good. So I thought to myself, well, I guess I just need to try my best to, you know, to support my immune system. So I always tried, you know, eating healthy, which didn't always work. But in January 2020, I got really ill. It was crazy. I was coughing all night. I don't actually know. I'm presuming it was the flu. I don't think it was COVID, although I was coughing probably for 5 days straight without a break, all night, every night. And I couldn't sleep, so my body couldn't recover. It was really difficult for me to recover, and I thought that that was my end. Let's put it that way. Obviously it wasn't, but when you're going through an illness like that, you think that is the end. And nevertheless, there was a whole story where my boyfriend went and got me this over-the-counter syrup, coughing syrup and cough syrup, and I overdosed on it, but that's beside the point. I got rid of that illness. I managed to recover after a couple of weeks, I think, and then I went to my GP because I just wanted to know what was wrong. I called them and they said, okay, we'll do a blood test, we'll see what's wrong. And at that time I lived in Yorkshire, so this was when I was at uni, and they did the blood test. They got back to me and they said everything was fine. Clearly I had some sort of a virus in my body, and also my iron was a bit low. But they said not to worry about it. Women tend to have low iron, so everything is fine. So I wasn't educated back then about iron deficiency and other mineral and vitamin deficiencies, and also I thought that my GP's words were holy. I thought that whatever the doctor said was true. Whatever they said, they were never wrong, and that they wanted the best for me. And that is probably true. They want the best for their patients, but they only have, I think it's 8 or 9 minutes per patient, and so they can't always do the best. And yeah, we'll talk about this at the end as well. So then I moved on with my life. Then I started having acid reflux symptoms, and I had a lot of nasal drip, and so this is all related to my Helicobacter pylori story, because these were the symptoms that I was experiencing that were being caused by H. pylori. So you can watch that video here. But yes, so then I started having that, and then I got really ill with it in September 2020 when I was on vacation in Poland, because it was my cousin's wedding. And then I came back, and after, because that was my acid reflux was flaring up a lot every month. And so after I think 2 months, I went to my doctor, and we did a stool sample. You can find out everything in that video, so I'm not going to talk about this too much. But basically in December 2020, we found out I had H. pylori, and they put me on 3 different antibiotics. And so I took them for, I think it was a week or 2. And basically after that, I thought everything was good and dandy. I thought I was cured of everything. Oh. Little burps. So at that point, which was just before Christmas, after I finished my course of antibiotics, I thought I was amazing. I thought I was cured. I also, at that point, started becoming vegan. So then in January, I started feeling really low. I mean, I always knew that I would always often take naps throughout the day. I was always quite tired, and of course I always got ill quite often. So I just thought, well, this is just the way I am. Doctors they haven't seen anything in my blood, so everything seems to be fine. And so when I started feeling low in January of this year, I was feeling really I was getting depressed a little as well, which, I mean, I've had these moments before as well, but it just felt different. And so I just thought, well, I blamed it on the weather. Obviously it's dark and the weather is horrible. It's probably just, I don't know, seasonal depression or whatever they call it. And so I just moved on. I tried to live as normal as I could, although it did get in the way because I didn't feel myself. I couldn't train the way I wanted to. And yeah, my whole life was affected. And so towards, I think it was up until March, I kind of lived with it. I just told myself, it's going to go away once summer comes. This is going to be over. And whenever you feel like this, don't tell yourself that it's the weather. because it's most likely not. It's better to go to your doctor and get it checked out. So at one point, this was probably February and March, I was so depressed and so tired all the time. I didn't want to get out of bed. I couldn't get out of bed most of the time because I was so tired and I didn't want to get out of bed. So then in March, I got really ill again. This time it was diarrhea. And it wasn't like any regular diarrhea. So for those of you who are quite with these things, you can just skip 2 minutes or so. But basically, it was awful. I was going to the toilet 20 times a day, if not more. And after a couple of days, because I wasn't eating a lot, I was mainly drinking fluids. There was nothing to come out. It was mainly water, and then towards the end, it was like just my bile coming out. It was crazy. It was like yellow in color. It was yellow in color, and it was just disgusting, and it felt horrible, as you can imagine. And the fact I didn't sleep at nighttime because I couldn't. I had to be going to the bathroom all the time. My stomach was in misery. And so after 5 days, luckily my mum is a nurse, so she told me to take electrolytes, drink a lot of fluids. So thank goodness for her, because at least I knew what to do. So I didn't dehydrate myself, everything was fine. It's just I had to wait for this to go away. And so this went away after 5 days. So this went away after, sorry, Harry interrupted me. So this went away after 5 days. And then I decided to call my GP and ask him to do a blood test for me, because I wasn't feeling myself. I was still depressed, tired, and I couldn't and didn't want to do anything. And so I did. I went for a blood test, and the GP, he didn't call me back. He just sent me a message after a week or so, and he said that my iron was low and that he has prescribed me ferrous fumarate 210 milligram tablets. This is what it looks like. And he told me to take it twice a day, every day, for the next 2 months. So let's just sum up, because there were other symptoms. Let me just quickly sum up the symptoms that I was experiencing, because the tiredness, the depression, the anxiety weren't the only ones. And having said this, at this point, by January of this year, my anxiety and my depression had intensified so much. Before, I was experiencing them as well, but not to that extent. So I knew something was off, but I kind of didn't want to believe that I had depression or anything like that, and I didn't think that it could be related to an iron deficiency. So my symptoms, other than depression and anxiety, were chest pains. Especially in the evening, I would be getting chest pains either on this side or both. Sometimes I would get chest pains while sleeping as well, and that was quite scary, because I thought there was something wrong with my heart or my lungs. But I've read that it's actually a symptom of an iron deficiency. Also, I found it really weird, because I am an active person and I have been probably the healthiest I have ever been in the past year or so, apart from the fact that I've been low on iron, extremely low on iron. I would walk up the stairs, one flight of stairs, and I would be out of breath. I would be feeling dizzy. I would have to sit down because I felt like I was going to faint. Also, another thing, when I was ill with that diarrhea, I almost fainted. I was also on my period and I almost fainted twice. luckily I knew what to do, to lie down and put my legs up, but I almost fainted, and that kind of made me feel like, oh, there's something wrong, because whenever I've been ill, I've never fainted before, and this time I knew something was really off. So another symptom was hair falling out, and those were the main symptoms. So depression, anxiety, can't walk upstairs because I was out of breath and dizzy, chest pains and hair falling out, although the hair isn't like really the main symptom. So 5 symptoms in total. So then let's go back to my blood test when I got prescribed my medication. I was trying to get back to my GP to actually find out, because at that point I was learning a lot about iron deficiency and other types of deficiencies, and mainly through Sally, Jack's TV mum's channel. I found her channel, and she provided me with a lot of information about iron and iron deficiencies and how it all works. So at this point I was adamant. I wanted to know exactly what was wrong with me. I wanted to know exactly which iron indicator was off, because there are different iron indicators. And so I called my GP. The receptionist initially told me that my hemoglobin was low, where my hemoglobin was actually okay. It was 145, which is perfect. So then I called again, and I was on the phone with a nurse, and she told me that it was just my iron that was low. But because I had learned so much about iron, I wanted to know specifically what was wrong, so I just decided to tell them to send me my blood test results so that I could see for myself what was actually wrong. And so on the sheet, actually I'm probably going to show it here for you. On the sheet it shows that my serum iron is 4 and normal levels are between 9 and 30. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I'm going to circle it here somewhere. And then also my serum ferritin was quite low, 43. Well, it isn't that low, but from what Sally has been saying, she's been in contact with the Iron Clinic, and the Iron Clinic have said that for a healthy woman, the correct ferritin levels are 100. And I'm on 43, and my doctor, as you can see, it's not in red, and it's as if it's all okay. So that was that. Luckily, I found out what was wrong with me, and I am happy that we managed to sort this out, although not everything has been perfect, I must say, because from watching Sally's videos, I have learned a lot, really a lot about iron and how GPs treat iron deficiencies here in the UK. Basically, here in the UK, what I've learned is that, and this all comes from Sally and her work with the Iron Clinic, basically in different regions they have different standards for iron. So for example, when I lived in Yorkshire, in Sheffield, my iron levels could have been quite low, and I probably should have been given an iron supplement back then, but for them those levels were fine probably, so they didn't say anything. And then because that wasn't treated back then, it all started getting worse, not only because there were a couple of different factors, to be quite fair, because I went vegan. I had suffered with H. pylori, and I was given 3 different antibiotics for my H. pylori, which obviously flushed my gut out of all the good bacteria. So my stomach flora, my small intestine, didn't have the good bacteria to be able to metabolize iron effectively, to absorb it effectively. And so all of these factors combined led to this situation where I was literally suffering with diarrhea, fainting, to a point where in the worst case scenario, if they hadn't detected it, I could have possibly died. That's the worst case scenario, but obviously, thank goodness it didn't happen. This is a bit of a dramatization, obviously, but reflecting back on it, that is the worst case scenario. Basically, different regions here in England have different standards, and not everywhere if you have, for example, serum iron levels of 10, they're not going to prescribe you, for example in Yorkshire, they won't prescribe you iron because that's not their standards. So that was one thing that I learned from Sally. And also another thing was that basically when you have a low iron deficiency, you don't have to be low, your hemoglobin doesn't have to be low. A lot of people think that when you only have an iron deficiency when your hemoglobin is low, but that's not actually true. Like in my case, my serum iron was low. In Sally's case, her ferritin was low, or I think her iron was low as well. So everyone's case is different, and there's also transferritin saturation, something that doctors don't actually check in blood tests. They don't do a full blood count. So if, for example, you go to your doctor and they take your blood out and they say, well, everything is fine, your iron is fine, but you still feel low, you have to press on them and tell them, I want my transferritin levels to be checked as well, because that is something that could be causing you to be low on iron as well. But basically all of this, because Sally, she works with the Iron Clinic and she has done a fantastic job talking about and spreading the knowledge of iron and iron deficiency and what iron is all about. So I will link all of her videos, all of the useful videos that helped me out down in the description box below, so you can check that out for yourself, because she actually has interviews with doctors at the Iron Clinic who are basically the people to go to if you are feeling that something is off and your GP isn't helping you out. And also you can email them, the first email, they will advise you for free. You can send them your blood test results. The link to that will be in one of Sally's videos, so you can check that out and check out Sally's channel, because she's absolutely amazing, and in a sense she saved my life, because she also recently made a video about mental health and low iron deficiency and how they're interconnected, because they are. Imagine I went to my doctor and he said I was suffering with depression without checking my blood. They would have put me on antidepressants, and that's the case with a lot of people. A lot of people are depressed, feel depressed, they all have anxiety. They go to their GP, they say how they feel, and their doctor will prescribe them antidepressants or anxiety drugs. And a lot of people don't have to be on those drugs. For a lot of people, it's just a matter of checking their blood and seeing if their iron or vitamin D or vitamin B12 are all good. So yeah, there's other deficiencies as well, like vitamin B12. So that's called pernicious anemia if you are low on vitamin B12. So please make sure that you educate yourself, because I remember I said at the start I thought that the words of my GP were holy and that my GP was always right. That is not the case. I was really, in a sense, timid back then, thinking, oh yeah, I'll just you know, my life is in the hands of my GP and he knows best. But GPs only know what they've learned in school and what they've been learning as they are practicing. And a lot of GPs, iron is kind of, it's not a well-researched topic, if you will. We've only done, the vast majority of research has been done in the past 10 years. So you can see how behind we are on iron. And it's such an important topic because it affects our whole lives. It can give you depression, anxiety. It can really affect your whole life like it did for me. And so please don't let your doctor tell you that everything is fine when you know that it's not. You know best. You have to read up on the things that you think you might have. Google is not your enemy. If your doctor tells you that Google is your enemy, then he's wrong, because Google gives you knowledge. Obviously, you have to read the correct things. You have to read studies and not some gossip. But if you learn about you know, iron, about different vitamin and mineral deficiencies, then you will know, and then you can go to your doctor and tell him, listen, I think I might have this because these are the symptoms, and I know my body, and this is not how I normally feel. So if you give your doctor the right information, he will have to do something with it, unless he's really stubborn. But yeah, it's not their fault. I'm not blaming GPs here. They're fantastic people. They have a lot of work to do, and yeah, they save lives, but they're only human as well. And so we have to make sure that we know our bodies, and we know a lot about different health conditions, that we are aware that mental health is not just caused by mental health, if that makes sense. Mental health issues can be caused by underlying health conditions such as deficiencies, and it's unnecessary for a lot of people to be on antidepressants. Yes, of course, some people have depression that is not caused by deficiencies, and yeah, that's an obvious thing. But if your doctor tells you have depression where you haven't had it before, it could be that you are low on something, so get that checked out. I know I have waffled on and on. I'm just going to check that I have covered everything, because I don't want to miss anything out. Yeah, I think that is basically it for today. Like I said before, check out Sally's channel. I've linked all the good information, all the good videos that contain amazing information in the description link down in the description box down below, so you can check that out for yourself. So I'm just recording the final bit on my phone, so sorry for the bad quality and the horrible audio, but my camera overheated. One final thing that I wanted to say about your iron supplement is that the Iron Clinic have said that 60 milligrams every other day is the perfect amount of iron, because if you take more, then that makes your hepcidin levels go up, and that basically makes you metabolize iron in a different way, and so you don't absorb as much iron. Basically that iron kind of goes to waste, the extra iron that you take, and also that can potentially cause you problems with the gut as well. So I am at the end of my treatment. I only have a week left or so, and I only found this out yesterday, and I've been taking it twice a day, so 400 milligrams every day. But I will have a chat with my doctor and see what he says. I'll quote him the studies, and we'll see what his reaction will be. And yeah, so just bear that in mind, and do question your doctor about the prescription if you do get prescribed anything. It is always wise to ask why, as opposed to regret something down the line. So thank you again for watching this video, and check Sally's YouTube channel out. Check out her amazing videos, and yeah, thank you so much to Sally for helping me out and helping others out as well. And I hope that this video has been useful, and yeah, take care of yourselves, and until next time.